Chosen One, this message finds you not by coincidence, but through the sacred weaving of the universe, guided by unseen hands that always know the exact moment your soul is ready to receive it. It is not just another fleeting sound, lost in the chaos of the world, but a divine signal meant to awaken something deep within you. There are people who live their entire lives never realizing the weight of their existence. But then, there are those who were born different, marked, targeted, watched. If you're a chosen one, you know what it feels like to be in constant warfare, even when nothing in the physical world explains it. You felt pressure before the promise, resistance before the rise, darkness before direction. That's not a coincidence. You didn't just wake up one day under attack. You were born into a battlefield. The moment you came into this world, alarms went off in the spiritual realm. Your soul carried something ancient, something prophetic. And because of that, both heaven and hell have had their eyes on you from the very beginning. This isn't just your story. This is the reason for the war happening in the unseen. Let's break it down. 7 chapters that reveal the truth about the war you caused in the spirit realm. Before we dive in, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. This message is for the chosen ones who felt the heat of spiritual warfare and never understood why until now. If this message resonates with your soul, drop the number 77 in the comments. That's not just a number, it's a spiritual code. A signal that you're waking up to your true identity, aligning with divine purpose, and ready to walk boldly through the war that was started because of you. Only the truly chosen will make it to the end, because this message isn't surface level, it's a spiritual transmission, and those who stay will gain clarity, strength, and confirmation that the battle they've been fighting in silence was never for nothing. Every time you return to this message, another layer will be revealed. So come back as often as you need. Each listen will activate a deeper part of the warrior inside you. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Mark of the Chosen. You weren't chosen the day you succeeded. You were chosen long before you even knew how to spell your own name. Long before you took your first step, your life carried weight in the unseen. You didn't earn it. You didn't ask for it. It was simply who you are. You were marked, not by man, but by the Most High. That mark, it wasn't visible to the human eye, but it echoed loud in the spirit realm. Heaven recognized you. Hell recognized you. Before you even knew your own purpose, both realms were already at war over you. You've always felt different. Even when you laughed with the crowd, something inside you remained separate. Even when you tried to follow the norm, your soul resisted. You didn't understand why certain places drained you, why you couldn't settle for mediocrity, why fake friendships never stuck. It was because your spirit was never wired for the ordinary. You were made to disturb the patterns of darkness and carry the light of divine assignment. As a child, you sensed things. You saw through people. You felt energies others were blind to. You had dreams that seemed like prophecies, visions that left you awake at night. That wasn't your imagination. That was your gift trying to introduce itself before the world told you to silence it. The mark you carry is spiritual authority. It's the whisper of legacy in your bones. It's the weight of generations that prayed for your arrival. It's the divine evidence that you've been assigned to shake foundations, to shift atmospheres, to bring light where others accepted darkness. And that's exactly why you became a target. The enemy doesn't waste energy on those who pose no threat. He doesn't attack the average. He targets the anointed, the chosen, the called, the dangerous. And you're dangerous to the kingdom of darkness just by existing. Your voice carries fire. Your footsteps disrupt demonic cycles. Your presence alone breaks generational curses. That's why the attacks came early. That's why you've battled things others couldn't survive. That's why people turned on you for no reason. The enemy saw the potential before you did and tried to shut you down before you even started. But what hell didn't count on was that the mark on your life wasn't just a target, it was a covenant. Heaven has been guarding you from the beginning. You're not paranoid. You're not making it up. That's spiritual warfare. It's not drama, it's divine resistance. The fight you've felt your whole life isn't because of where you are, it's because of where you're headed. And now you're awakening, you're remembering, you're stepping into the truth that you've always felt in your spirit. You were chosen not to fit in, but to stand out, not to survive quietly, but to lead loudly. The mark has always been there, and now it's time to wear it with honor. Because once you accept who you are, the real battle begins, and so does the victory that's already yours. Chapter 2: The Assignment That Shakes Both Kingdoms. You weren't sent here just to live a normal life. You didn't arrive on this earth to blend in, to check boxes, or to merely survive. You were sent on divine orders, with a mission that echoes beyond time. Your assignment was written in the heavens long before you ever took your first breath. And that assignment? It shakes both kingdoms, heaven and hell. You carry spiritual authority that wasn't handed to you by man. It was breathed into you by God. That authority isn't flashy or loud, it's quiet, heavy, and powerful. You walk with weight in the spirit. Your prayers shift realms. Your presence disturbs principalities. You are the answer to prayers your ancestors cried through generations of pain. Your calling didn't begin with you. It flows through you. This is why you feel the intensity. This is why life hasn't been normal for you. You're not dealing with ordinary resistance because you're not on an ordinary path. Heaven is rallying behind you to bring your destiny into fullness, and hell is launching full-blown attacks to prevent it. Because your assignment threatens structures, it dismantles demonic patterns, it exposes lies and activates truth. You may think you're just trying to make it through the week, pay bills, heal from betrayal, figure out your next move. But the realm of the spirit knows better. You're not just surviving, you're governing. You are spiritual government in motion. You carry an anointing that activates change, even in silence. Your obedience causes disruption. Your healing breaks cycles. Your faith awakens the sleeping. Your rise is a spiritual alarm clock. That's why you face so much confusion and warfare around clarity. That's why distractions seem endless. That's why people turn their backs right when you're stepping into alignment. The enemy isn't afraid of who you were. He's terrified of who you're becoming. Because when you walk in purpose, you walk in power. And that power breaks contracts in the unseen. Generational curses, ancestral trauma, strongholds that have kept entire families bound. Every move you make toward your assignment causes a ripple effect. Your yes to purpose echoes in eternity. Your alignment with divine will causes angels to be dispatched and demons to flee. Your fasting, your prayer, your focus, your healing, none of it is in vain. It's all spiritual strategy. You've probably wondered, why does my life feel like a battlefield? It's because you are launching something. You are birthing something in the spirit that both heaven and hell are watching closely. And depending on what you choose, entire timelines shift. People are watching you now, but the spirit realm has been watching since birth. You are not just here to exist. You're here to activate, to ignite, to lead, to shift. You're the bridge between what was and what will be. And every time you choose truth over fear, purpose over comfort, alignment over convenience, you are advancing the kingdom. So don't minimize your journey. Don't belittle your process. Your assignment is the reason the battle is so loud. But it's also the reason the victory will be undeniable. Because when a chosen one rises, the spirit realm takes notice, and nothing is ever the same again. Chapter 3. The attacks that didn't make sense. Until now. You've been attacked when you had nothing, betrayed by people you trusted, overlooked in rooms you were more than qualified to lead in. You've sat in silence, wondering, what did I do to deserve this? The depression came out of nowhere. The isolation didn't match the moment. You weren't perfect, but the pain, it felt too specific, too targeted, too deep, like you were being punished for simply existing. But none of it was random. Every storm, every heartbreak, every door that slammed in your face, it all had a deeper root. You just didn't see it yet. The truth is, those attacks weren't about your past. They were warnings about your future. Hell saw what was coming long before you did. The demons that came after you weren't reacting to your present. They were trying to abort your becoming. What you thought was failure was spiritual resistance, not from God, but from darkness that recognized your light. The kind of light that couldn't be ignored. The kind of light that breaks strongholds, heals bloodlines, and shifts generations. You weren't crazy, you were chosen, and chosen ones get pre-attacked. Before you ever stepped fully into purpose, the enemy tried to bury you under confusion, fear, addiction, loneliness, shame, and delay. Because if you ever truly awakened to your identity, you would destroy every lie he ever told you. If you ever truly healed, you'd lead others to healing. If you ever stepped into authority, you'd take territory that wasn't meant to stay in enemy hands. Think about it. Who attacks someone going nowhere? Demons don't waste energy. They don't obsess over average. They target threats. They target voices that carry truth. They target warriors who can't be bought. They target those who have been marked by God to flip the script. And you, chosen one, are that threat. That season when everything fell apart, that wasn't just a bad chapter, that was a spiritual assault, an attempt to make you give up before you even began. But here's the twist. You didn't fold. You didn't break the way they thought you would. You kept going, even if you had to crawl, even if you cried yourself to sleep, even if you felt alone. You didn't quit. And that's why the shift is coming. That's why breakthrough is near. Because you've passed the part of the test where most give up. You kept your faith when it made no sense. You kept walking even when the path vanished. And heaven is about to honor what you endured in silence. So no, those attacks weren't meaningless. They were the enemy's desperate attempt to stop something divine from rising. And now, that divine thing is rising. It's you. You're not stepping into purpose. You're stepping into prophecy, and all of hell knows it. Chapter 4. The role of angels in your journey. You felt protected in situations you should have never survived. You've walked out of places that others didn't make it out of. You've escaped disasters you didn't even know were forming behind your back. You've encountered coincidences that shifted your path entirely. But when you look back now, you know, that wasn't chance. That wasn't luck. That was divine orchestration. That was the presence of angels. Long before you were even aware of your assignment, heaven had already assigned guardians to your life. When your purpose was spoken into existence in the spirit realm, angels were commissioned to walk beside you, war for you, guide you, and cover you. You were never alone, even when you felt abandoned, even when you were isolated, rejected, forgotten by people. Heaven had eyes on you, constantly. Some of your hardest battles were never meant to be fought in the physical. They were spiritual wars, waged in dimensions unseen. And while you were sleeping, crying, or questioning your worth, divine warriors were fighting for your future. You have no idea how many accidents were rerouted, how many plots were overturned, how many traps were exposed and dismantled, without you ever knowing. You've had days when your strength made no sense, nights when you couldn't pray, but still woke up with peace. Moments where the right person appeared, the right word was spoken, the path just shifted. And you didn't understand why. Now you do. That's divine assistance. That's the ministry of angels. But here's what most people don't realize. Angels aren't just protectors. They are partners. They walk with purpose. They carry divine blueprints. They don't just watch your life. They're invested in your mission. They respond to purpose. They activate around alignment. When you start walking boldly in your calling, when you stop shrinking, when you say yes to what God designed you to do, they gather closer. The more you align, the more they surround, and their presence becomes undeniable. Ideas begin to flow. Strength increases. Clarity sharpens. Doors that were sealed shut suddenly creak open. You're not imagining it. Heaven moves with you when you move in obedience. Angels aren't mythical beings floating in clouds. They are real, assigned, intentional, and present. Some walk in the form of strangers, friends, mentors, delivering a message or a miracle at the exact time you need it. Others war in silence, battling principalities that try to delay your destiny. You've been spared from breakdowns, heartbreaks, even death itself, not because you were lucky, but because you were chosen. And make no mistake, when hell increases its attacks, heaven increases its reinforcements. You've reached a point in your journey where spiritual maturity is required, and part of that maturity is understanding who walks with you. You're not just one person pushing through pain. You're a vessel surrounded by heavenly forces. Forces that move when you move in truth. Forces that respond when you walk in faith. Forces that are not here just to help you survive, but to help you dominate. Because this war, it's not just about protection anymore. It's about execution. It's about walking in divine authority. And angels don't babysit purpose. They accelerate it. So trust that nudge. Follow that instinct. Pay attention to the peace that comes when you choose obedience. That's heaven's agreement with your assignment. That's confirmation that you're never walking alone. That's the role of angels in your journey, not just to guard your life, but to fuel your destiny. Chapter 5. The devil knows your name and fears it. This chapter isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. Because whether you realize it or not, hell knows exactly who you are. The devil knows your name, not because you're perfect, not because you've always had it together, but because you are dangerous to darkness. Because what you carry is disruptive. Because your very existence threatens everything the enemy has tried to build. He knew who you were before you did. He recognized your anointing before you learned how to use it. He saw the call on your life while you were still trying to survive childhood. He studied the favor on your bloodline and plotted to corrupt it. From the moment you took your first breath, an alarm went off in the spirit realm. You've been watched ever since. That's why the attack on your identity was so intense. That's why you were surrounded by betrayal, abandonment, and trauma early. He was hoping you'd break before you woke up. hoping you'd drown in your pain before you discovered your power. Every toxic relationship wasn't random. Every delay wasn't by chance. Every moment of temptation, confusion, and chaos was strategically placed to keep you stuck, insecure, and silent. But guess what? It didn't work, because you kept getting back up. Broken, but breathing. Wounded, but wiser. Fragile, but still faithful. And now you're waking up. Now you're aligning. Now you're moving in purpose. And the enemy knows the clock is ticking. He knows that every step you take toward your destiny, every lie you overcome, every layer of healing you allow, is another nail in his agenda. That's why the warfare intensified. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're finally doing something right. Because you're no longer blind to your calling. Because you're no longer dancing with dysfunction. Because you're no longer begging people to love you when heaven has already chosen you. You've become a moving threat to the kingdom of darkness. And hell is nervous. See, the enemy doesn't waste resources. He's not sending legions after people who are spiritually asleep. He's not attacking those who pose no threat. He fights those who are rising. Those who are called to lead, to heal, to break chains, to shift culture, to wake others up. And you are one of them. You were never meant to live hidden, broken, or small. You were born to shake kingdoms, to carry revelation, to disrupt generational patterns. And now that you're stepping into it, the enemy is trying to distract you with noise, fear, anxiety, self-doubt, and drama. But you're starting to see it for what it is: desperation. The enemy knows. Once you fully embrace who you are, there's no stopping you. He fears your voice. He fears your prayers. He fears your discipline. He fears your obedience. Because one fully awakened chosen one can do more damage to the kingdom of darkness than 1,000 lukewarm souls. So when you feel the pressure building, when the attacks come back to back, when it seems like everything is trying to pull you back, remember this: you are feared, not for your past, but for your future. The devil knows your name, but more importantly, he knows your potential. He knows that if you keep going, keep healing, keep listening to that still, divine voice inside, you will become unstoppable. And guess what? You already are. Chapter 6. You're the bridge between realms. You've always felt caught in the middle, like you didn't fully belong anywhere. Too spiritual for the worldly crowd, too real for the religious ones. You felt things others ignored. You saw truths they were blind to. You carried burdens that didn't even start with you. That's because you weren't meant to blend in. You were born to bridge worlds. You are the link between generations, the interruption in a bloodline of cycles, pain, silence, and suppression. You are the one heaven chose to stand in the gap, to stop what destroyed those before you, to begin what others never had the faith to build. The darkness tried to drag you back, but the light refused to let you go. Because the war over your life is not casual, it's generational, it's eternal, it's divine. Your presence in this world is a portal. You are a spiritual gate. Through you, healing enters your family. Through you, new patterns are born. Through you, revelation flows. What you say, how you walk, the decisions you make, they don't just affect you. They ripple across realms. You were chosen to be the first in your bloodline to rise, the first to break free, the first to return to divine alignment. That's not a small role. That's why the pressure is so intense. That's why the battle feels so personal. Because it is. The enemy doesn't just want to stop you. He wants to stop what comes through you. He knows that if you ever become fully aligned, fully aware, and fully surrendered, The spiritual traffic flowing through your life will disrupt his entire infrastructure. And heaven knows it too. That's why you've been protected. That's why you've been preserved even in your darkest hours. Not because you were perfect, but because you were positioned. Positioned to rebuild broken places, to restore what was stolen, to reconnect heaven and earth in ways most people can't see. That quiet voice inside you that told you you were different, that wasn't your ego. That was your spirit remembering its origin. You've always been connected to more insight, more depth, more truth. You've always stood at the edge of something bigger. And the moment you decided to walk forward instead of turning back, that bridge activated. Suddenly, your life wasn't just about you. It became a channel. And that's why things shifted. That's why people changed. That's why your atmosphere got heavier. Because your spirit stepped into its real assignment. You are a bridge between pain and purpose, between what was and what will be, between ancestral wounds and spiritual restoration. You are the translator of divine messages to earthly minds. You are the crossing point between dimensions. And every time you pray, speak truth, choose love, or walk in alignment, both realms take notice. Don't underestimate yourself just because others couldn't see your role. Don't shrink because others didn't understand your weight. You were never meant to be small. You were meant to span realms. You were born to close the gap between heaven and earth. And now that you know who you are, nothing can stay the same. You're not just walking through life. You're altering atmospheres. You're not just surviving. You're shifting timelines. You're not just healing. You're restoring generations. Every time you say yes to truth, yes to discipline, yes to love, the bridge strengthens, the flow increases, and your legacy expands. You are the bridge, and you were born to carry what no one else could. Chapter 7. The War Confirms the Weight. Chosen one, if you've ever questioned your value, just look at the size of the war waged against your soul. That alone tells you everything you need to know. Heaven and hell don't fight over anything average. They don't battle over the ordinary. The war confirms the weight. The intensity of your attacks is proof of the intensity of your assignment. You are carrying something powerful, disruptive, aligned with divine purpose. And that's why spiritual forces are working against you. This war wasn't because of your failures. It's because of your calling. From the time you were a child, forces began to form around you. Before you even knew your name, your purpose was targeted by hell's armies. You weren't attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because you were chosen. And the enemy wanted to stop you before you could realize your power. The abandonment, the loss, the betrayals, it all had a root in the realm you couldn't see. Both kingdoms knew what you carried. And as you started waking up, realigning, and remembering who you are, the warfare intensified, not to destroy you, but to delay you. But look at you now, still here, still rising, still healing, still walking, still choosing light. That's not weakness. That's warrior strength. That's divine resilience. You've earned your crown in silence, struggle, and surrender. And now, it's time to wear it. You are the chosen one. Not because you were the loudest or most qualified, but because you were willing to endure, willing to trust, willing to keep showing up in the dark. And now, you are the light to others who are still trying to find their way. Let this truth settle in. The war was never meant to destroy you. It was designed to reveal you. It exposed your strength. It revealed your calling. It activated your discernment. It humbled you, refined you, and aligned you. Without it, you wouldn't have the authority you carry today. The war wasn't punishment. It was preparation. It confirmed that you are a threat to darkness, a disruptor of patterns, and a deliverer of light. Every lie told about you, every closed door, every delay, every heartbreak, all of it now carries proof that you're exactly who God says you are. You are not crazy. You are not cursed. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. The war you caused in the spiritual realm is not your shame. It is your sign. The battle over your life is heaven's reminder that your story is essential, your light is unstoppable, and your rise is undeniable.